Hey guys, it's Leah. Welcome back, or welcome if you are new, and welcome to my TBR jar picks what I will be reading for November. The fact that we only have 2 months left of the year and therefore only 2 TBR jar videos left, actually I don't understand it. This year has gone so quick. I have no idea where it has gone, but I am so excited to be here to pick my November TBR. These are my favourite videos to film. But before I pick out some prompts that will equate to the books that I'm reading in November, I think this month I'm gonna pick 6 or 7. I used to pick out 10 prompts. Recently I've gone down to 7, and I think actually I'm going to go down to 6 for this month, solely because I have just launched my Patreon, which I am super excited about. I didn't do one dedicated video, so I wanted to mention it here because this is the first video that I'm filming since launching it. I have wanted to do a Patreon for years. I'm so excited about it. Equally was a little bit nervous, but we've already built such an amazing community over there, and I'm so thankful for anyone who has already joined. The reason that I also say I'm now going to pick 6 instead of 7 is that I now have a book club, and I'm so excited about it. Book club is over on my Patreon. I will link my Patreon down below if you want to check out all of the tiers, but of course I wanted to mention it. It in no way is changing any of the content that I post in terms of how much I already post, what I post. It's not changing any of it. It's just a place for extra content, for a book club, for a besties group chat, for live streams, and I'm really excited. So if anyone even checks it out, thank you. I really appreciate all of your support. But because of it, I'm going to pick 6 books instead of 7, solely because I don't know what our book club book is going to be. It's so weird saying that. I'm so excited, but of course I don't know what the first book club book is. We're gonna pick 6 today. That's enough rambling. Let's get started. I always open it before actually shaking it up, so let's shake it first. Okay, and for the first prompt, let's go for this one. And this prompt, oh my god, this prompt is a fantasy book on Kindle. I don't think we have ever picked out this prompt, so I am so excited. Okay, a fantasy book on my Kindle. We'll go through some of the TBR fantasy books that I already have on here, and then maybe check if none of them are tickling my fancy. Some fantasy books that are already on my TBR include Metal Slinger by Rachel Snyder. This one I got from Emmy's recommendation. I'm sure everyone already knows how amazing Emmy's fantasy book recommendations are, but this one has been like her ride or die. She has been screaming its praises, so now I really want to read it, and it is on Kindle Unlimited. So we have that. We also have The Crimson Moth, which I know loads of people have read this year and have absolutely adored. I really would like to read that, I think, before the end of the year. I have Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater, another one that I feel like is probably going to be perfect for this time of year. It's kind of pitched as Howl's Moving Castle, which is one of my favourite films. Bridge Kingdom by Daniel L. Jensen. I heard a couple of people talk about this, but I haven't heard anything about it for a while. The Gilded Wolves, The Jasad Air. We have so many. Oh my god, The Prison Healer too. I don't know which one to go for. I'm gonna lie, the one I think I'm leaning towards most currently is The Crimson Moth, just because I've had it on my Kindle for so long. Ever since it first came out and everyone was raving about it, I've been wanting to read it so bad, and I feel like this is kind of the perfect excuse. Okay, I think we are just gonna go for The Crimson Moth by Kristen Cicerelli. I'm pretty sure it's called Heartless Hunter in the US. Like I said, I've been wanting to read this for ages, so I'm so happy to finally get it on a TBR. That is the first book that we're gonna be reading in November. Okay, on to the second prompt. Let's go for, okay, one fell out. We'll go for the one that fell, and that one is another massive one. Great, I'll let you guys try and see it first. Can you read that? Is a book from my 24 for 2024 list. Obviously at the start of 2024 I made a list of 24 books that I would hope I would have gotten to throughout the entirety of the year. I think I've been doing a pretty good job of it this year. I'm not gonna lie, I've read so many of them, but there are definitely still a few that I haven't, and obviously we're in November. We're about to be in November, so I kind of need to get a move on. There's one book on my TBR cart currently that I'm pretty sure was on my list, so we're gonna screen record. I'm gonna show you what the list is and how many we've got left. So the books that we have remaining that I have not yet read are Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead by Olga Tazarchuk. I always butcher that author's last name, I'm so sorry. Perfume by Patrick Suskind, Homesick for Another World by Tessa Moshfegh, and Death in Her Hands by Tessa Moshfegh. A Little Luck by Claudia Pinheiro, Blind Willow Sleeping Woman by Murakami, The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, Uzumaki by Junji Ito, and yep, The Wall of Winnipeg and Me by Marina Zapata, which is on my TBR cart. Normally whenever I pick this prompt before, I will tend to go for the book that is on here, or I'll choose between them if some of them are on here. Obviously all of those are on my TBR, but due to the fact that this is the only one on my TBR cart today, I think we're just gonna have to pick this one. I'm not gonna lie, I've been purposely trying to save The Wall of Winnipeg and Me and any of Marina Zapata's works for this time of year. It was actually, I think, at the end of November last year that I read All Rose Lead Here by Marina Zapata, which instantly became like one of my top 2 favourite romances ever. I fell in love with it, and this is the only other book by her that I haven't read that I do own. Honestly, now Marina Zapata is the epitome of reading romance in winter, and I'm just so excited. So this one is going to be perfect to read in November. It is a chunky romance. Her books are always slow burn, but they are always so brilliant. I'm so excited for that. Also perfect to get one more book ticked off of my 24 for 2024 list, because I'm getting a bit scared that I'm not going to achieve it. I'm not going to lie. But for the third prompt, let's go for this one. We're already halfway. That is actually insane. I honestly do miss the times where I pick 10, but that's because I was reading over 10 books in a month, and I haven't really been doing that recently. Third prompt is flowers on the cover. So a book with flowers on the cover. Let's see, some ones that I'm really excited to read. Okay, that one definitely doesn't. Heavenly Bodies, does that? No, they're more like stars, to be honest. The Murakami, does that count? I mean, that's definitely more of a plant than a flower, but does that count? I really want to read this. This is Murakami's newest release, The City and Its Uncertain Walls. It actually comes out in November. It comes out on the 24th, so I would love to get to it before it's published, and I don't know if that's cheating. We'll see what else we have. Onto the second shelf, In the Company of Witches. Oh my god, there's flowers. This is just like a garden landscape. There are flowers. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I would say that those are flowers. I really want to read this. I don't know much about this other than it's a cozy fantasy witchy sort of read, which is definitely something that I'm probably going to crave in November. Very top of the blurb it says, when a guest dies in the B&B she helps her aunts run, a young witch must rely on some good old-fashioned investigating. Clear her aunt's name in this magical and charming new cozy mystery. This is the perfect blend of mystery, magic and mayhem. I have heard really good things. I've heard that this is perfect for this time of year and for autumn, and it's also fairly short. It's just over 320 pages, and I'm not gonna lie, this one I've been really craving reading on my train journey to Scotland, so I feel like this might actually be perfect to add on to my November TBR. I'm not gonna lie, as much as I do want to read The City and Its Uncertain Walls, it's a plant, it's not a flower. That would be cheating. So I think we are just gonna go for In the Company of Witches. I'm excited. I've been wanting to read this for so long, and I know it is also like the start of a really cozy mystery series, so I really hope I enjoy it. On to the fourth prompt. Let's go for this one, and oh, if I can open it, this one is a gothic read. We are doing so good for the autumn reads. Okay, a gothic read. Instantly my mind goes to First by Marina Cook. I'm sorry if I butchered that. I have been anticipating the release of this book for so long. I had it pre-ordered and I've been dying to get to it. All I know about this is that it's a queer vampire read. So literally what is there not to love? The blurb reads, a breakout genre-blurring novel from one of the most exciting new voices of Latin American's feminist Gothic. We got the keyword Gothic. Across two different time periods, two women confront fear, loneliness, mortality, and a haunting yearning that will not let them rest. In the 19th century, a vampire arrives from Europe to the coast of Buenos Aires. On the run from the church, she must adapt, intermingle with humans, and most importantly, be discreet. In present-day Buenos Aires, a woman finds herself at an impasse as she grapples with her mother's terminal illness and her own relationship with motherhood. When she first encounters the vampires in a cemetery, something ignites within the two women, and they cross a threshold from which there's no turning back. First plays with the boundaries of genre whilst exploring the limits of female agency, the consuming power of desire, and the fragile vitality of even the most immortal of creatures. Does that not sound like the best book in the world? Again, it's only about 240 pages, so a really short one. Guys, I'm not gonna lie, I'm just adding this to my TBR. I don't need to pick up another book. I'm so excited for it. This honestly is a 5-star prediction. I really hope that it will be one. Okay, we're on to the fifth prompt, which will be this one. This one is another really long one, and it is matching the current season. Guys, this looks kind of rigged. Like, this is going too well. A book matching the current season. Obviously we are in autumn, somewhat going to be going into winter, I suppose, in November. So a book matching that, something autumnal, wintry. We could do anything, babe. Okay, one that I think of instantly, especially due to the title and also the cover, is Moon of the Crusted Snow by, I'm absolutely going to butcher this author's name, Warburgshig Rice. I'm so sorry, I know I butchered that. I have wanted to read this for years. It's been one of those books that I've always been so aware exists, but I had never seen it in a bookshop in the UK until I did, and the first time I saw it in a bookshop had to be the day that I got it, and I'm so happy that I do finally own it. I don't really know much about this other than it's a post-apocalyptic read, and a lot of people who enjoy the same post-apocalyptic reads like I do, same horror and speculativeness, have rated this 5 stars, so I have very high expectations for it. On the blurb it says, with winter looming, a small northern Anishinaabe community goes dark, cut off from power and communication with no foreseeable resolution. Only very few residents truly realize the community's shortfalls. When unexpected visitors arrive, escaping the crumbling society to the south, tensions rise and allegiances are divided. Harsh winter months pass slowly and the food supply dwindles as the death toll and panic rise. But the greatest threat to the survival of the reserve might come from within the community itself. Like I said, it sounds quite post-apocalyptic, a little bit ambiguous, which normally I love, and due to the fact that there's snow in the title, even though November for me is still autumn, I'm not gonna lie, until it gets to like end of November when I start thinking about Christmas, it's still autumn, but I feel like snow is quite fitting for that, so this could definitely be a good option. We also have The Sundial by Shirley Jackson. I have spoken about Shirley Jackson so many times. She's one of my favorite authors. She writes horror and gothic literature brilliantly. I am obsessed with so many of her work, and I honestly want to read all of them, but this one is the only one that I have on my TBR that I haven't read yet. She is perfect for this time of year, so I suppose that would work. Not gonna lie, I feel like the majority of these I could probably find a way to make them work, but due to the fact that this is the only one with outright like snow or autumn or anything like that in the title, I feel like this is probably a pick that makes the most sense without me cheating. With that, we're just gonna go for Moon of the Crusted Snow because I wanted to read it for years, so it would be really nice to finally read it, especially before the end of the year. I cannot wait. Like I said, a 5-star prediction, and I hope I'm gonna be right, but I'm going into it fairly blind, so if you've read it, please let me know what you thought about it. And now we are finally on to the last pick, the 6th book that I will be reading in November. Okay, it's gonna be this one, and this one is a book with all the letters of my name. Why does this happen every single time? Luckily for me, my name is only 3 letters, so it's not really hard. Most books tend to have LEA in them, but a book including all the letters in my name, one that I've seen already that I definitely could be quite keen to read, and I do feel like is really good for this time of year, is Natural Beauty by Ling Huang. This is kind of a literary horror that really discusses the beauty industry and women in the beauty industry, kind of like Rouge by Mona Awad. It's kind of one of my favorite like subgenres in literary horror, and I've been very keen to read this for a long time, so this one could work. City and its uncertain walls, yeah, definitely does, so we could also do that. Honestly, there are so many on here that we could just pick. I do tend to feel like that prompt is kind of a free pick because most books 9 times out of 10 apply to it, but I'm gonna pick out of these two, and if I'm being honest, out of these 2 books, the one that I'm currently leaning more towards is The City and Its Uncertain Walls, mainly because it is a proof that comes out in November. I would love to get it read and like a review up before it is actually published, and Natural Beauty because it is also so short. I feel like it is one that I could definitely read in November regardless, and if I'm being honest, I probably will because I've been really excited about this and I want to read it again before the end of the year, so I feel like I'll probably end up reading both of these in November because this is the longer one and is also the one that's being published in November. I feel like this makes most sense. So guys, those are the 6 books that I will be reading in November, picked for me by my TBR jar. Obviously we also have The Crimson Moth. I don't own it physically. I could be swayed to get a physical copy too, but these are the 5 physical books I will also be reading. If you have read any of the books that I'm going to be reading, please let me know what you thought about them, whether you like them or you dislike them, if they're also on your TBR or you also want to get to them at some point, let me know. If you watch until the very end of this video and you don't really know what to comment any autumny winter emoji because I cannot believe we are at the end of the year. Obviously, as always, if you did watch until the end of this video and you did enjoy but you are not yet subscribed, it would mean the world if you did consider doing so. I am actually doing Bookmas this year again. I did it last year and it was so much fun, so if you want to stick around for that, it would be amazing to have you here. Of course, as I mentioned at the very beginning, I have now launched my Patreon, so if it is something that you would like to check out, please feel free to do so. It would mean the world. I would love to have you as part of this community in general, but all of your support always means so much to me, so thank you so much. And yeah guys, that is it from me. Thank you so much for being here and for spending some time with me. I really hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you again very soon in another video.